not like the old Seinfeld days when we were riding high, you know. Dun 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 dun. You can get a bagel in Iowa. Yeah, give me a schmear in Ames, Iowa. Boom, 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 boom.
And now we're talking.
Yes, sir.
This is real.
Yes, sir. We're recording in real life.
That's right. Coming to you live from Rock Hard Studios. This is Rock Hard Caucus, episode 163. I'm Justin Comer, and this is Evan.
Hello.
Do you want to use your last name?
No.
This is Evan.
No. You don't need to know anything other than the Chris on the last episode is actually my dad. That's all you need to know.
Don't put it together. Don't think about it. Don't dox him. We are sitting here in my living room having just witnessed cinema history.
Yeah. If we're a little dull on this episode, it's because our brains were just sandblasted with over 2 hours of the most, bad conservative propaganda I think I've ever seen.
Yeah. Well, first off, we should thank everybody who contributes to our Patreon, patreon.com/rockhardcaucus. The money that you give us there is spent on movie tickets for the new Sean McNamara directed film Reagan, which from my very, very light research, I learned maybe began production 8 years ago.
Really?
They've been working on it for a while. Yeah. And Sean McNamara, I had actually seen a few of his movies, it turned out. I got his Wikipedia pulled up here. Sean McNamara, an American film director. Filmography. Here's a couple that folks out there may recall, may have seen. Casper, A Spirited Beginning from 1997.
Was that a directed VHS?
Yes.
Okay. That's what I thought.
That's I think that's the second in the Casper trilogy, which was a staple of my household.
Yeah.
The I think 95 Casper movie with Christina Ricci. Don't know if you ever saw that.
Yeah, I think I've seen some of it at least.
Yeah, that was probably in the first 5 movies I saw in a theater. Mm-hmm. I remember going and seeing it. Near the end, the villain says bitch.
Oh, really? Yeah. I don't remember that.
In this Casper movie that they took 4-year-old me to see. Sean McNamara, he also directed Casper Meets Wendy, the third in the Casper trilogy.
I was like, who's Wendy?
Oh, Wendy. I
thought this was a completely different film universe.
Wendy the Good Little Witch.
Wendy. Okay, not familiar with Wendy the Good Little Witch.
There's Casper the Friendly Ghost, right? And then there's Wendy the Good Little Witch.
Okay.
An early role for Hilary Duff.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. So having seen Casper Meets Wendy, I was early to the Hilary Duff.
Oh, really?
Rise to stardom, yeah. I was on the Hilary Duff train before a lot of my peers. You know about Harvey Comics?
I do not know.
You got Casper, you got Wendy.
Oh, man.
Richie Rich.
He's a Harvey somewhat Comics familiar character. With Richie Rich.
Also Hot Stuff.
Hot Stuff? Are you going to do another podcast about this comic?
Yeah, it's time to get into another universe here.
I didn't know there was more than 3 comic book companies.
Oh, yeah. Harvey was
Harvey.
They had a good market presence for a while.
Not in business anymore, I assume?
I don't know. It says defunct in 2002.
Oh,
but before we just go off reading other Wikipedia pages, Sean McNamara also directed Three Ninjas, High Noon at Mega Mountain from 1998, which is, I think, a sequel to, it's the 4th and final installment in the Three Ninjas franchise.
Okay.
The Bratz movie of 2007. That's BRATZ.
Yeah.
Not the Charlie XCX.
It didn't quite have the cultural cachet as the Barbie movie. The Bratz movie was a couple rungs lower on the the cinema score.
Oh, I skipped over the Even Stevens movie.
Yeah,
that was the one that you.
I saw people mention it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Even Stevens connection.
Yeah, and I also read on Sean McNamara's Wikipedia that he is I think it's Christy Carlson Romano, I think was her name, who played Ren Stevens on Even Stevens. He is her godfather.
Okay.
So there's some familial connection there. Yeah. We don't need to go through his whole filmography, but it's a lot of what some might refer to as shit.
Trek.
Leading up to this very important film, Reagan, the 2024 biopic of Ronald Reagan. Reagan himself played by Dennis Quaid. How did you feel about not only his portrayal, but his appearance?
I think his appearance is probably more important than his portrayal. I mean, he was fine. Like,
Well,
yeah.
I don't have a good Reagan. But
no, I don't. I'm not gonna go there.
Yeah.
But he looks crazy. Like he's got like the Perry Johnson grin almost.
Yeah.
And he got a lot of digital anti-aging shit, and he's looks. I mean, he's got a ton of makeup on, but yeah, pretty unremarkable performance.
Yeah,
Pretty standard.
It's very cartoon. Like his face looked super tight. Like they're trying to imitate the Reagan look. He had a very striking face. No one else looks like that.
Yeah.
So in order to craft somebody's face into another face, you lose something.
Yeah, it's not a good track record of that lately.
And he had like the two-faced smile, kind of.
Yeah, he looked like Harvey Dent.
Well, that was almost Hank Hill. I don't think I can do it, but I've never really worked on it either. Okay, you mentioned the digital de-aging, which was necessary because the movie jumped all over the place chronologically. It opened with the Hinckley assassination attempt.
Yeah.
Which is I think it's a good place to start. You want to start with a bang. Oh yeah, I wanted to look up who was playing John Hinckley because I had not checked yet. You don't see him for very long. He's not even listed on the Wikipedia. But I really want to know because they did kind of...
They could have asked John Hinckley they could have de-aged him.
I know.
I mean, he's, an artist himself. I don't know if he's done acting before, but...
I'm sure, man.
He would have been, I don't know. I bet you if you look at his Twitter, he's probably asked them to hire him.
Well, okay, yeah. A couple things I'm thinking about now that you bring that up. We found out right before the movie that there is a post-credit scene. Because the theater we went to had a little sign up where they tell their customers which movies have post-credit scenes
Good to
and which
know.
don't.
Very good to know.
Yeah, because it's every bullshit movie has one now. So what if it had been John Hinckley himself in the post-credit scene? Like, hey, sorry about all that.
Yeah, that'd be so good.
Sorry, guys. I had just a strange inkling that if I...
Was he the guy, he wanted to be with Jodie Foster? That was his
he
thing?
was the Jodie Foster one. He was the, he had a sort of pedophilic preoccupation with Jodie Foster. Here we go. Loudon Baker. That's Lauden Baker. Loudon Baker plays John Hinckley Jr. in an uncredited 5-second appearance.
Shout out.
Yeah.
He got a couple less seconds of screen time than Scott Stapp, who is the reason why Justin wanted to see this movie in the first place.
Yeah, when I found out Scott Stapp was playing Frank Sinatra, I had to see that almost like sacrilegious casting
it was
choice.
so bad. There was some pretty bad impersonations, and
Yeah.
Margaret Thatcher, that was the worst Margaret Thatcher I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, not
Not
good.
even close.
Not good. The other thing that came to mind, you said Hinckley is an artist himself. He's a musician, right? And there was a lot of weird covers in the soundtrack to this. Why not have Hinckley do one?
Yeah. Yeah, there's a Devo song that has Ed Hinckley or John Hinckley lyrics. I think. It's like I Desire, I think, and it's about him desiring Jodie Foster.
Right. Yeah.
So he could have performed that for sure.
Yeah, what else did I want to say about this movie? Well, I don't just want to run through the whole thing. I don't want to do like a full hour talking about this, but...
Yeah, there's really not that much to say about it. It's honestly really not like that fun to go to if you're a hater like we are.
Right. The film was produced by people who hold Reagan as like a saint, you know, for people who love him and think of him as kind of a deity.
Yeah, for sure.
I do think that because of that, and we were talking about this like as we were having dinner just before we got on the podcast, I think that because it was by Reaganites for Reaganites, there's a certain unguardedness about it.
Yeah.
Where like they can present a bunch of Reagan's greatest or most notable actions, which a lot of them were not good.
Yeah.
And they're not ashamed of them. They think he could do no wrong. And so it's presented very bluntly.
Yep.
Like they feel like they don't need to make any apology for it.
Right. 100%.
The biggest example being
well, yeah, there's a point where there's like a montage set to that Phil Collins song. What is
Genesis? Land of
Genesis,
Confusion.
sorry.
It's not a solo song, but it is in the period when Genesis was basically a Phil Collins project.
Okay, so but it's like an anti-Reagan song, and
Yeah,
so
Land of Confusion.
there's a bunch of clips of people protesting like during the Reagan presidencies, and there's a lot of what's the anti-AIDS group. ACT, I don't remember. But there's a bunch of protesters, and then that has like text on the screen post production that's like Ronald Reagan did nothing after like 89,000 people died of AIDS.
Yeah.
Just matter of fact that it was like just so weird. Like this movie is going to make you mad more than it's going to make you like find anything like bad funny about it if you're like a leftist or whatever.
The kind of the boldness of that.
Yeah.
Because so I think the intention of that whole sequence set to Land of Confusion, which if you haven't seen the music video for that, it features puppets by it's like some British show that was on in the 80s where they had like really grotesque puppets doing like kind of sketch comedy. I forget what it's called, but they had a Reagan puppet and they just like lambasted him in this music video. So you see some clips from the music video, but it's interspersed with this other stuff, including the AIDS thing, which is like clearly it was made for this movie because it's like much higher res than the Land of Confusion video. But this is all in the his re-election. That's like where it's placed chronologically. So I think the intention of that was to show us a series of people in America who were very unhappy with President Reagan and were very unfairly, blaming him for things, hysterically outraged at President Ron Reagan, who was beloved by all the normal people of America.
Yep. It pretty much paints anyone who is opposed to Reagan at all as just like a bad person and like
I told you.
There's going to be trucks.
We're going to hear that fucking truck.
We're going to hear some trucks. But yeah, there's no subtlety whatsoever.
Right.
Other than when it comes to being sympathetic to Reagan, obviously, because it does, like you said, it does include a lot of the bad stuff. Basically, it was like, well, it was illegal for him to do Iran-Contra, but he also like kind of had to do it.
He did it for because
he was a good negotiator.
Yeah, they really.
It's so bad.
Kind of glazed over the Iran-Contra.
They glazed over a lot of shit.
Yeah, but that series of hysterical protests against Reagan is all a backdrop for his massive landslide victory over Walter Mondale. So it's all setting him up as like he's being unfairly attacked.
Yeah.
They're trying to tear him down. This is just another of his mini conquests.
Yeah. For sure.
Doing nothing about AIDS was just part of what made Reagan so successful and great as America's greatest leader in history.
There's another part, one of my favorite parts of the few that there are was when there was like Vietnam protesters when he was like
the college campus
thing.
He
was governor of California. And he like pulls up and there's a couple times where he just like walks by a bunch of protesters and they all are just stunned by his presence and they're too afraid to say anything. But there's like one guy who's like, he's like a chubby guy who goes, "Make love, not war." And then he gets out and he goes, "This kid's not making either of it."
Yeah, either of those. Like he can't do either one.
He's like,
that's not at all. He sounds like
no. Yeah, but
this fucking guy. Jersey Reagan.
I mean, he is kind of a gangster. I mean, but he was just like this fat hippie won't fuck. Like
he can't fight or fuck.
Yeah.
So PG-13 movie, by the way, they didn't actually say fuck. And actually, we weren't sure what even made this PG-13 as opposed to PG. Other than the age of the target audience,
there's a
I
crazy
suppose.
sequence where, like, they're doing missile defense against the Soviets, and apparently it was just some geese or whatever. But it's like before that happens, it's like Reagan's eyes seeing like nuclear bombs heading towards New York City.
Yeah, the camera
with the
zooms
Twin
in on
Towers,
his eye.
and I was like waiting for one of the bombs to just hit the Twin Towers.
That was a strange portrayal of that moment,
It was
too.
so weird.
This is like a famous moment where we were like on the brink of Armageddon, which happened many times during the Cold War.
Yeah.
But the time that it happened when Reagan was president, his, like, all the, I don't know who those guys were, probably the heads of military branches, right?
Yeah.
What do they call those?
Chiefs of, I don't know. That's not it.
Our armed chiefs of...
Chiefs of
Who gives
staff.
a fuck? Anyway, they're like telling him, the Soviets are about to launch their missiles. You gotta, like, are we going or are we not going? You have to decide right now. And he, like, freezes. Mm-hmm. So the camera zooms in on his eye. We see his pupil, like, shrink.
constrict.
Yeah. And then it's like, what's going on in his mind? Which is, as you said, almost 9/11.
Yeah.
We
But
see-
worse. That would be a lot worse.
Well, yeah, it would have. But Twin Towers and then 2 missiles hit, like, near them.
Yeah.
So basically, we got lucky because nothing was actually happening. Mm-hmm. But our president froze and just didn't give an answer.
He disassociated.
Yeah. Like, is this supposed to be good? The way that he handled this?
A lot of bad special effects, a lot of green screen. Yeah, not a great movie.
I mean, I guess it's good he didn't launch any nuclear missiles, right?
That is good. Yeah.
I'd rather he freak out and, like, go into his own head than, than do
There's
that.
also, there's all this crazy anti-communist shit about him being an FBI informant while president of the Scene Actors Guild.
Yeah.
So he could snitch on commie actors and stuff.
Yeah.
It's fucking crazy.
Well, that's kind of the whole movie is like, this is for people who believe that he ended communism.
Yeah. Oh, but then there's that speech that we couldn't figure out what it came from, where he was like, it's okay to be a communist just as long as you don't support the Soviet Union. And then, like, the movie actually, like the John Voight KGB guy narrator was like, yeah, like,
Yeah,
it's crazy.
the whole framing of this, and I guess it's based on a book, which I did not look up either, but John Voight plays an ex. Was he KGB or?
Yeah, KGB.
I don't know.
He was the guy who he was keeping track of Ronald Reagan from birth.
Yeah.
Because he knew how much of a threat he was going to be to the Soviet Union, because he, of course, like, single-handedly ended the Soviet Union.
Yeah, it's part of the big Reagan myth. But John Voight does a Russian accent for the whole movie, and that's the whole point of the movie, is that this guy in Russia was keeping track of Reagan, knew the whole time that Reagan was the doom of communism, but you gotta like the guy.
Yeah.
that was kind of the whole thing too, is like, even his enemies were disarmed by his unmatched charm.
I think not only that, but they were saying that he was persuaded from communism.
I think so.
To free market Western capitalism.
Yeah, just because this guy had
Ronald
such a-
Reagan's personality was so good. He was such a good actor.
Such a charming, crooked smile. Yeah.
He's really good in those commercials.
That like lopsided smile that he would do, like the Two-Face kind of thing. Biden does that.
Oh yeah. There's a lot of similarities there.
Yeah. Who else was in this? I wanted to mention Kevin Sorbo, who plays Reagan's his pastor at the church, whatever church he was going to.
Yeah, who ordained him to become president.
They show him sort of giving a young Ron advice about something, and he starts what he's saying with a well. So they sort of show us the origin of the catchphrase, the Reagan well. Yeah. Another scene I want to make sure we mention, if you don't know, Reagan, before he was a Hollywood actor, he kind of got his start in that kind of work in radio. He was a radio guy in Des Moines. He worked at WHO. And they give us a very short scene of him talking about Hitler into a WHO microphone. They don't say anything about Des Moines or Iowa, but those who know will catch the very conspicuous WHO microphone. Did you get any genuine laughs out of this? When you weren't like,
The one thing was when all the Soviet premiers were dying and they kept playing the same footage
Yeah,
of
that
the
was a
same
good bit.
funeral was kind of a good bit.
yeah,
I don't know. Probably just that one.
I had two.
Yeah.
The other was when Reagan was running for governor and he was canvassing, and he and Nancy showed up at this woman's house, and she answers the door. She's like super starstruck because she recognizes him, but she doesn't actually know his name. So Nancy says like, well, if I tell you his initials, will you get it?
Oh yeah.
It's kind of, now that I'm saying it out loud, it's very like fake. Like,
Yeah.
obviously. Why would you say that? But then she says, honey, Roy Rogers is here.
Yeah.
And that did make me laugh.
Yeah, it was a good bit, I suppose.
Even though it's set up kind of stupidly. But yeah, at that point, his like acting career had kind of like plummeted, right? And he was doing a bunch of like shitty advertisements.
Yeah.
One thing that we noticed in that there's like a montage of like a bunch of ads he did like for cigarettes and
Yeah.
cologne or something.
Yeah.
One of them had the logo for Charlie's Philly cheesesteak restaurant, whatever. It's a
Never
chain.
been there.
Yeah, well, there's one in the very mall.
Yeah, there's one in the mall that we
saw the
walked
movie in. That like jumped out at me. I was like, Charlie's,
Yeah.
because he's supposed to be doing these ads in the 60s,
Yeah.
I think, early 60s maybe. So like, oh, by the way, in the theater, it was us and two older women.
Yes.
In the whole room. So I was looking at my phone for most of the movie.
Yeah.
I looked it up. Charlie's was founded in 1986. So that may have been like
Real product placement.
real product placement in the Reagan movie. So Charlie's must want to be associated with Ronald Reagan.
Yeah, I mean, there's probably a lot of fast food franchisees who would like to be involved in the Reagan movie.
Yeah. I don't know if you caught this, but I swear there was a scene where Dennis Quaid said, communism. Communism.
I didn't catch that.
He
But
added
that
an
was
N.
the creepiest part of the movie was when Dennis Quaid was acting senile. It was like,
yeah.
that was the most poignant acting in the whole movie. Other
we
than
get the-
his first wife, who were basically like, this lady's a fucking bitch. Like they were, she was mean to Reagan. He said that he should just stick to acting.
Right. She didn't like that he was getting into politics. And then she kind of just disappears.
Yeah.
They didn't really... That's another thing about the movie is it's just sort of showing you like random glimpses.
Yeah.
We didn't see the divorce or anything. I thought he was cheating on his wife with Nancy
Yeah.
when he first met her.
Yeah, they didn't establish that. They also didn't really talk about his kids. I mean, there's like a couple
Except the one who
shots
died.
with Ronnie. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And then
Who
the one who
died at
died, which I
birth.
didn't
Yeah.
know about.
I forget her name. But that was another scene that stuck out to me because it looked like shit.
Yeah. And then when he like asks Nancy to marry him, he's like, I got a lot of baggage. I got 3 kids.
I'm damaged goods.
I'm damaged goods. Yeah.
Yeah. When their kid dies, there's a scene at the cemetery, and the headstone looks very fake.
Yeah.
It's like Times New Roman overlaid on a block of granite. You know, like a headstone is like carved kind of. This one looked like it was like
Yeah.
just photoshopped. And then I think the cemetery itself was green screened. So really, really weird looking.
Yeah.
Well, we could probably talk more about this forever, but I think overall, I'm going to say give this movie a pass. Scott Stapp as Frank Sinatra only appears for a few seconds, and he's lip syncing, and you never get to see Ronald Reagan holding a chimpanzee, which is his greatest
right.
film role.
That's right.
They do make a joke about Bedtime for Bonzo, but you do not actually see the chimp ever.
Jeez. Come on, man.
Yeah. Evan, I assume you also give it a negative review overall.
Yeah, you don't need to see this at all. There's no reason to see it other than if you're like freaks like us.
If you are a Sean McNamara completist, you want to see how he has progressed since the Even Stevens movie
Yeah.
in his filmmaking career. Yeah, you can skip it. But thanks again to our patrons for paying for those movie tickets. On to the races. On to some real ass news. This is a bombshell this week.
Yeah.
Biggest thing that happened in Iowa. Our lieutenant governor has resigned.
Damn.
Now, listeners, is there a name in your mind right now? Our lieutenant governor. You know who he is, right? I gave you a hint. He's a man. You know his name.
I sure didn't know his name.
You know it. It's, and I know you're all saying it now as you're listening, Lieutenant Governor Adam Gregg.
Greg Adam.
No, it's Adam Gregg. 2 first names, and Adam is the first one. He should be Attorney General, right?
Yeah, that's right. There you go.
Trade him out. But yeah, he not a very consequential person, probably in any state, right? Lieutenant Governor, who cares?
I mean, who knows what they do?
But he suddenly resigned on the 3rd of September. There was a statement from the governor's office which said, like, he needs to spend more time with his family. The common excuse for why somebody resigns their post suddenly with no warning. And then later that day, we also got an announcement from the Iowa Bankers Association that they have named Adam Gregg their new president and CEO.
Yeah, he's also 41 years old.
Oh, he's only 41?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
That's wild.
Wow.
He must have been like, they're grooming Brenna Bird to be the next logical successor to Kim Reynolds. So might as well just make the immediate jump to lobbying.
Right. Yeah. Why bother? Obviously, my political career is not going up.
Yeah.
Like, this is as high as I'm going to go. Time to cash out. Did you see his signature?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, they released his resignation letter that he wrote to
He's
Kim
got a
Reynolds.
very sus signature. It looks kind of like a penis ejaculating.
Yeah,
and
it really
testicles.
does. His last name absolutely does. Like, the 2 G's at the end are balls, and the first G in Greg is the head of the penis.
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
Wow.
it really is.
Wow.
Did you not pick up on this?
I didn't notice until you said
didn't?
it.
Okay,
No.
I thought that's why you included it.
I mean,
on there.
I included it just because it's funny. Like, it's just a weird
Yeah, it is
signature.
a weird signature, but no, I thought you were. I mean, maybe that's just my mind's in the gutter.
Yeah, but well,
True RHC boy.
yeah, here on Rock Hard Caucus, we don't like to make dick jokes. Yeah, Adam Gregg's signature. The name Greg can be easily sort of maneuvered into the shape of some kind of phallic image. Anyway, so yeah, Adam Gregg out of the government into the Bankers Association. I'm sure he's making a lot more money.
Oh yeah,
Probably doesn't have to actually do anything.
yeah. That's an awesome job for sure.
Yeah. I did want to
He
go
can
over.
see his family and make way more money probably.
I did want to go over a few statements. So this was sudden, right? This was a shock to the entire Iowa politics community. Some Democratic leaders in our state had some things to say about this, who are often very critical of the governor's office.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Rightly so. She's the spearhead for a severe rightward shift in this state's politics.
Yep.
She's taken us in a bad direction very, very aggressively.
Yep.
And Adam Gregg, her right-hand
was
man, right?
Along for the whole ride the entire time.
Yeah. Here's Representative Jennifer Confirst, who is, I believe, the Democratic leader of the
Yeah,
state
that's what I
house,
thought
right?
so. Yeah.
She's the number one in there. She said, "I want to thank Adam Gregg for his service to the state of Iowa. Time with family is precious, and I hope he's able to enjoy more time without the constraints of statewide elected office." Our friend Rob Sand had a statement as well. This is just a Twitter screenshot I have here, but the whole quote, statement is attached as an image, but it's also written as text.
Yeah, this is like Michael Scott / like Facebook on like shit. Post it. He posted the same quote in text and then a screenshot of the same text with
It's odd.
Yeah, in the same post.
Yeah. But Rob said, "I want to thank Lieutenant Governor Adam Gregg for his years of service to the people of Iowa. He was always capable of seeing past disagreements to focus on places to work together." I feel like I would benefit from like a concrete example of that.
Yeah, I think I would too.
I don't really understand what his job even was. Like, what's a lieutenant governor do?
Yeah.
Probably just take some meetings. Like, I assume it's largely ceremonial and, like, A governor is probably busy.
Fundraising.
Yeah, I'm sure that's a big
Head
part
of
of
the
it.
Bankers Association.
Fundraising for the Republican Party of Iowa, right?
Yeah. Yep. That's such a Rob Sand thing, because like, why you don't have to say anything, but then they do have to say something because it's like a signal to. I mean, they're trying to convince Republicans to vote for them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Seeing past disagreements to focus on places to work together. I don't know.
It's an opportunity.
Yeah. You remember Troy Price?
Yeah, that's a name. I know. I was happy to see his name pop up.
Almost called him Tory Price.
Forgot about old Troy Price.
Troy Price, a former leader of the Iowa Democratic Party, now in New Hampshire, I think.
Yeah.
He said, and this is less of a like nice statement. He said, "I'm sure Kim Reynolds is not looking forward to asking Adam Gregg for a donation. However, I'm sure he can't wait." How do you interpret that?
I mean, yeah, it's like it doesn't make any sense at all.
Does he know something we don't know, or is he like making up drama?
I have no idea.
I'm sure Kim Reynolds is not looking forward to asking Adam Gregg for a donation. However, I'm sure he can't wait. He can't wait to be asked? Is there some kind of conflict between the two of them?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. I do think it's odd that he resigned so suddenly.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely is odd that he resigned so suddenly.
Reynolds has also said that she's going to find a replacement like within the next few months or something. So she's in no hurry to fill that spot, which goes to show how important of a job it is.
Right.
Okay, and then I also got one from Zach Walls, who was formerly the Democratic leader in the state Senate, is now just another lowly senator with no leadership role. Oh, my state senator, by the way.
Yeah.
Zach, can you hear us? The window's open. I know he lives around here. Zach said, "I guess if I was Adam Gregg, I'd also want to leave from serving with the most unpopular governor in the country."
Is that even true?
I think that there have been polls that say that that's true, but I know DeSantis is also not.
Yeah, I mean,
beloved.
there's probably a couple in the running for it, but either way, it's like...
Kristi Noem probably dropped a few spots after that book came out.
It's just so silly. Like, it has absolutely zero to do with it.
Yeah.
Like, just making up things because it... Like, just another way to attack Kim Reynolds. Yeah, it's because he wanted to distance himself from the most unpopular governor in the country.
Yeah, he had a lot of opportunities to do that before now. But instead, he continued working for her, running with her twice in elections, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, we wish him the best as the new president of the Bankers Association. We'll be calling him soon. What do you think the Bankers Association does?
Lobby, like try to get big rich people to come to their bank. Build client relationships.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, nothing good.
The news that I read about this said that the guy who was their president had been so for like 30 years. And now he's being replaced by a young gun. So yeah, maybe he'll be there for the rest of his life.
I mean, yeah, banks aren't going anywhere.
Lieutenant governor is not a job you keep for life, probably. But president
no, it's
of the
like a
Banking
pretty
Association?
easy, like, yeah, like, so you don't really have to come up with a political reason why he left at all.
It's true, yeah.
Because
it's like, obviously a better
why
job.
Would you want to? Yeah, it's obviously a better job.
Yeah. We also had some big news about somebody suddenly leaving their role. Here in Johnson County, a local incident. Johnson County Board of Supervisors, who have been often the subject of controversy, self-inflicted controversy. This might have been on the same day. No, it happened on the 4th. My bad. Adam Gregg was out on the 3rd, and the Johnson County Board of Supervisors Executive Director, Guillermo Morales, was out on the 4th. Now, this is it's very local stuff, so I'll try to talk about this in a way that will fill people in who are less immersed in this. But they had a public meeting on Wednesday morning, yes, and they could have gone into a closed session for this, which is kind of their standard practice for when they're talking about
Firing someone?
potentially, firing or disciplining somebody who works for them. But it's kind of at the call of the person in question. So they asked him, do you want this to be a closed session? And so this is all public record now because the meeting, all their meetings are recorded and live streamed. So I've got a backup copy of it. He said, this is Guillermo, the former executive director. He said that he had not been informed of like any of this, like like what is happening. Why is this meeting happening? So he felt like going into a closed session would be potentially like covering up something that the public should know about.
Pretty clear choice there.
Guillermo, you are choosing to have this an open section. Is that correct?
Well, I was denied the right to know what this was about.
It's a yes or no question.
It's not, actually.
No, it is.
No, it's not. It's
okay,
not.
well then Ryan, can you give me some legal advice?
So this, if I can just...
No, you're not.
Okay.
You don't get to talk right now.
Okay.
I mean, I know you want to, but you don't get to talk right now. It's a board meeting.
Right.
And the discussion is going to be between the 5 board members.
Got it.
And their attorney.
So I'm reading from the Gazette's article from the day after this. So they interviewed Guillermo Morales, and the headline is, "Ousted Johnson County Director Says Gripes About Him Are Laughable." And I may insert some clips from the meeting here just to make this a little more clear to people. The chair of the Board of Supervisors, Rod Sullivan, read a fairly long statement, which none of his colleagues he had not shown it to anyone ahead of time. No one had shared with Guillermo, like, what was the content of this. But basically it said that this guy, the executive director, was like rude to other county employees and disrespectful.
You have been insubordinate, argumentative, and disrespectful to Lisa and Royce-Ann. You've done this both in your written communication and in meetings, some of which have been public. More concerningly, you've been harsh to county staff from other departments and offices, both in public and in private. I have received numerous complaints from at least 5 other offices about your treatment of their staff and your overcritical communication of other employees. As chair, I've spent countless hours apologizing for your rudeness and trying to mend fences, only to watch you continue your abrasive and corrosive behavior. You are supposed to be a role model for other staff, and instead, county staff observe you being disrespectful and insubordinate. It is clear to me that some of them now think that's an okay way to behave also, because we have let you get away with it.
And stuff of that nature, which...
Was this letter signed by any of those county employees that he was supposedly rude or disrespectful to?
I don't think so. And, I mean, to be clear, I don't know. I don't know what it's like to work with this guy.
Right.
Maybe people were complaining about him. They probably weren't lying about that, right? But,
yeah, I mean...
But it's an unprecedented way to remove somebody in such a high position in local government from his job. A day after he was fired as executive director of the Johnson County Board of Supervisors over accusations of being insubordinate, argumentative, and disrespectful, Guillermo Morales appeared Thursday at a board meeting, but his attempt to speak to supervisors during public comments was blocked. That's another part. So,
damn, this reminds me of another person on the Johnson County Board of Supervisors.
So on Wednesday, they had the meeting to fire him, which passed by a vote of 3-2. So they're split along political lines there. The next day, they have a public meeting where it's pretty standard for them to have a public comment period at the beginning. In my experiences of watching these meetings, they almost never skip that. But it is at the discretion of the chair.
Yep.
And they just happened to skip that at this meeting on the day after they very suddenly fired their employee. So the public was not allowed to speak at the meeting.
Yep. Big Rod. Did he fire off a salvo about this yet?
No. I've been checking. He has not made a blog post about this. Sullivan did not respond to the Gazette's request for comment on why he chose to forgo public comment this time. Sullivan, along with supervisors Lisa Green Douglas and Royce-Ann Porter, voted Wednesday during a special meeting to immediately terminate Morales after he had served about 18 months in the job. Supervisors V. Fixmer Orez and John Green dissented, saying the action is out of line with county procedures and insisting Morales be allowed to keep working but under a performance improvement plan.
Ooh, everyone loves a performance improvement plan.
Right. That's maybe not a preferable outcome either, to be working under a PIP, but they did talk about how, they have HR procedures written down as part of the organization
you get
of
like
the county government.
Verbal notice and then a written notice and then maybe another one.
None of that happened. He did not receive any feedback that he had, made these mistakes. Fixmer Ortiz, I'm skipping ahead a bit. Fixmer Ortiz opposed the firing, saying that Morales first should be placed on a PIP if there were issues. I think termination was incredibly unacceptable. We failed to follow our own standard practice. The person Rod described yesterday is not the person I know and respect.
Damn. Dark Rod.
From board members who align themselves so closely with labor, I was shocked to see such a clear violation of due process for one of our own workers. I am saddened and disappointed that we lost such a great leader who picked up the pieces from our former director and uplifted and managed a hardworking and community-oriented team. And it gets a little spicy here, too. Roy Sam Porter, a supervisor, who was mostly silent during the termination, spoke of it on Thursday. What happened yesterday was hard, but termination was for the better. Termination was for the behavior. This was not about retaliation. This has nothing to do with me. So when we sit here, I did what I did yesterday because of the complaints, because of the letters that we received from Guillermo, the insubordination, the disrespect. So I'm not sure if...
She might be telling on herself a little bit here.
Yeah, okay, so I've watched...
Doth protest too much.
I watched the video of that whole meeting. Public was not allowed to speak. Nobody said anything to or about Roy San.
Yeah.
But she... seemingly without unprompted, she started talking about how this was not retaliation. Retaliation for what?
The letters.
What? Yeah, I don't know what letter she's talking about. Okay, my take on this situation is that what they did on Wednesday was so blatantly unusual, like a violation of their norms, that their intent is that everybody who witnesses that has in their mind, well, something must be going on behind the scenes that I don't understand.
Yeah.
The thing, like what they did here, it seems so egregious, it can't possibly be so straightforward.
No, it's absolutely personal.
Yeah. So what it is that Guillermo campaigned for, like, he is closely aligned with the more progressive elements of this government body. He was supportive of Mandy Remington's campaign, which came out on top of incumbent Roy Sam Porter's campaign. Yeah. So once Mandy goes into office in a few months, the power balance on that board is going to shift.
The 3-2 vote will go the
3-2
other way.
Is about to shift to 2-3, right? Yeah. So they have a limited amount of time to sort of make changes to maintain the current atmosphere. The current way of doing things. Yeah.
And I wonder if there was like more to it than that. Like maybe there was some letters that were sent, but maybe they were about, like kind of the craziness that was happening on the the board before the election,
I mean, from the outside looking in, this appears to be a very dysfunctional local government. And I imagine things get heated behind the scenes.
Yeah, if they get that heated in public, then they get more heated behind the scenes, for sure.
Definitely.
Yeah.
A lot of people have pointed to perhaps some racial discrimination here as well. Like the concept of Iowa nice is a very white thing, and there's a sort of like enforced sort of false
politeness.
Didn't
he give a quote that said that he doesn't believe in Iowa nice or something? And he also, I think he did imply that there might have been something about him being a Latino.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and he says that like when he got the job, he was very upfront about like how his communication style may rub some people the wrong way who are used to that sort of like enforced politeness.
Yeah.
But that sometimes that kind of, that can't be really maintained if you want to like progress.
Yeah.
or whatever. Anyway, he may be doing a write-in campaign. That's the end of the article, which is very fun. Despite being fired, Morales said he still would consider working for the county again. He also has been talking about potentially running a write-in campaign for a seat on the board, even though he knows it would be difficult and unlikely. And then the last quote from him, the last sentence is, I think that there's some real trouble with the county's ability to work through professional disagreement. Yeah. Yeah, so I guess we'll see how serious he is about that write-in campaign. As it stands now, on your ballots, if you live in Johnson County, for the Board of Supervisors, you can vote for up to 3. You're going to see the names Mandy Remington, Rod Sullivan, and Lisa Green Douglas, and then you'll have 3 write-in spots as well. So if he really wants to do it, I will write him in.
Yeah.
As it stands now, I'm just going to vote for Mandy and whatever. Like, it's kind of a done deal because the primary is over.
Yeah, for sure.
And Democrats run this town.
Democrats run this town.
You know who does not run any town is the Iowa Libertarian Party.
Man, that would be cool if they did, though. Like, what was that? Keene, New Hampshire? Free Keene?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
man. We have some good YouTube videos on that subject if you want to check them out.
Have you been following the situation with the Libertarian candidates
Yeah, a little bit.
running for Congress in Iowa?
Yeah.
Well, they're being kicked off the ballot.
Yep.
We live in a healthy democracy. They're being kicked off at the behest of Alan Ostergren. I think we talked about this
Yeah,
on
we
an
did a
episode
little bit.
briefly, right? But as of today, like, yeah, they're
Their
off.
appeal has
They're
been denied.
Not going to be on the ballot. There's been a few articles about this week, but I wanted to read from the Des Moines Register on September 5th that kind of gets into why this happened. Why was a legal challenge allowed to go forward and remove these guys from the ballot? The guys being, I definitely know their names. Nicholas Gluba in the first district, Marco Battaglia in the third, and Charles Aldrich in the fourth. They will not be on the ballot. All right, so the reason is kind of like some minutia of election law, but Iowa law requires political parties to follow certain steps when nominating candidates at a convention. The Republican voters who objected to the 3 Libertarian candidates said the Libertarian Party improperly held its county conventions on the same night as its precinct caucuses on January 15th.
That's a major democracy violation.
Right, and it's a violation because state law says county convention delegates don't begin their terms until the day after they are chosen.
Come on. So they got to book a hotel?
This is a real concern, right?
Yeah.
The panel also found that the Libertarian Party failed to notify county auditors of the results of its precinct caucuses, including the names of the people elected as county convention delegates, as required by state law. Quote from Alan Ostergren, "These are the kind of neutral, non-discriminatory rules that apply to all candidates and are easily complied with. The Libertarians have never suggested, they have never shown, that somehow it was impossible for them to comply with their obligations to do basic party organization tasks. They simply didn't do it."
Man, lawyers just love to catch people on technicalities.
Yeah, and as we know,
That's the highlight of their career.
as we know from our experiences participating in the nomination process in the state of Iowa, the major parties, the Democrats and the Republicans, their procedures are all on the up and up.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. We've talked about like 3 or 4 different situations where people are getting caught up in technicalities.
Right. You know, I went to the Republican caucus this year in my precinct, and the guy running the caucus didn't have a fucking phone. So, so he met the reporting requirements by borrowing a phone. The Democratic caucuses I've been to have had a lot of strange sort of deals being cut.
Yeah. Yep.
Jen DeCock,
Yep. Good one.
an attorney for Battaglia, said the Libertarian Party's caucuses and conventions were substantially in compliance with the law in question. Iowa Code Chapter 43. Substantially in compliance.
Thought libertarians are black and white about their stuff, you know?
That's true. I mean,
Not going to cut it.
libertarians also aren't really big on compliance, I don't think.
Right.
While the party began its county conventions 181 minutes before midnight, she said, that shouldn't justify keeping candidates off the ballot. We've acknowledged that proceeding to convention from caucus before 181 minutes had passed did not literally satisfy the statutory requirement. Yet, the caucus and convention processes fulfilled these minimum objectives of Chapter 43. Okay, I don't really understand how they fulfilled them when she said that they didn't. But
yeah, that seems like a losing battle there. It seems like you've already admitted defeat.
Yeah. 181 minutes is all that stood between chaos and libertarian utopia.
Yeah. That sucks, though. I mean, Marco's got to be really devastated about it. He's really doesn't have any reason to post anymore. Well, I guess he does to get revenge.
Yeah,
that would be the main thing.
He's been trying to like fight Zach Nunn or something.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think the solution is clear here. If you're a libertarian, just don't vote. You have no reason to vote. You're outside of the...
It's true.
The two-party duopoly.
Welcome, brothers.
Yeah, like us,
Join us.
Similarly, don't have...
Join us in not voting.
We also don't have a reason to vote.
We are the disenfranchised. Yeah, so Laura Bellin was following the appeal today, which, like, the final decision on this just took place earlier this afternoon. And essentially their appeal was that the people who made the objection, the Republican voters, didn't have standing to do so. Mm-hmm. But Judge Huppert noted that Iowa code gives any eligible voter in a district the right to object to a candidate's nomination. You don't have to prove a specific injury the way you do to establish standing in court. It should also be noted that the board or the state objection panel who makes the initial decision is 3 people. Currently, it's Brenna Bird, Rob Sand, and who was the third? It was another Republican.
Not sure.
Yeah, I don't think it's the governor. I think it's maybe the treasurer or something. I forget. But it's 2 Republicans, 1 Democrat. It was a 2-1 decision. Our friend Rob stands with the Libertarians, but it wasn't enough.
He's all about the ballot access.
Wasn't enough. Evan, while you're here, do you want to listen to some voicemails with me?
Sure.
Okay. I've got a few in our inbox here.
Hey guys, listener here. I was listening to you guys on I-80 as I was coming in from Illinois, just driving through Davenport, and I don't know if you guys can help me with this, but I can't get this music to stop. Like I'm trying to turn down the volume on my car stereo as we speak, and it's just not working. So if you could help me out somehow, I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, we're not going to be able to fix that for you. It's a recent development.
Yeah.
Since the DNC, Rita Hart and the crew established that Celebrate by Kool and the Gang is it's the Iowa State song.
It's been taking the radio airwaves by storm.
Yeah, it's a law. They are now required to every station, every frequency you can tune to in your car is going to be playing that as you enter the state and for your entire visit.
Yeah.
They've actually got like a sort of EMP style things that the radio will still play, but it sort of like turns off all of your controls over the radio.
Mm-hmm. Please don't call the show when you're driving. Unless you have one of those really cool old hands-free kits.
Yeah. Please
plugs into your cigarette adapter.
Please wear your Bluetooth headsets if you're going to call into the show. Number 2. Oh, fuck. I forgot what this was. We're probably going to not play the entirety of this. It's 2.5 minutes long.
Okay.
But, we're getting a visit from an old friend.
Hard rockers, you know you were going to hear from me. You knew it. You mentioned Obama and the caucuses.
Uh-oh.
The Obama signal went up.
The Obama guy's back.
Okay, seriously, guys, we got to just be serious about this.
Oh,
Let's
man.
drop the gimmick here.
Gimmick?
The Iowa caucus in 2008. You kind of made it sound like, Obama, he was He was going to win regardless. But
We didn't say that.
seriously, let's look at
Did
the
we?
facts, guys.
What did we say?
I don't think we said that. I think we said his win wasn't that impressive,
Okay, so I think
that it wasn't that like Iowa was the reason why like he won the presidency.
yeah, we got set off because Rita Hart said that in her DNC roll call thing. She said the state that launched Barack Obama to the presidency, which I think is overstating what happened.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And then I said because it was like he won like 30, I think he won like 36 or 37% of the vote or something.
Yeah, and to be honest, in this context, our ire is directed more at Iowa and its caucuses than the candidate.
It wasn't like when he won the caucuses that he was like the automatic front runner. Like he was like, it was basically at that point, it was like, oh, it's going to be between him and Hillary probably.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, and I think Edwards dropped out shortly after.
Guys,
I don't
let's
know.
look at the facts. Every
Let's look at the
single
facts.
poll had him behind. Every national poll, most states' polls, he was behind. And then Iowa came along and something magical happened.
You can't be serious.
I think he's being a little tongue in cheek.
I don't know where you were that night. I was actually living in Illinois at the time. But
Oh, I was there, buddy. See,
was
your
in-
opinion is
Yeah, he's
invalid.
trying
You
to
were.
Oh.
I caucused for Obama, bro. I was in fucking high school. I was like 17, in fact.
He wasn't even he didn't even vote in the 2008 Iowa caucus, and he's trying to talk over us. Typical coastal elite.
Illinois, yeah, fucking Lake Michigan coastal elite.
I had a lot of friends in Iowa. And, you know, it was kind of a cool thing. And we all know that Obama was a big disappointment
He admits it.
He admitted it.
overall. But at the time, the early 2000s were...
Dude, I was there.
Iraq,
I was Obama pilled to the max.
Yeah. Okay, let's
I was like in college in my dorm room by myself watching MSNBC.
I've skipped 30 seconds.
arguably a worse president than Donald Trump. I'll go.
Who? Obama was arguably... Did he say that Obama was arguably a worse president than Donald Trump? Hell yeah, dude.
Let's let our listeners think he said that.
Okay, that's awesome.
Yeah. He said Obama's worse than Trump. That's crazy, man.
I mean, would we have Trump without Obama?
I cannot wait for him to call again.
Would we? I don't know, man.
Let's skip another 30 seconds here.
Blunder in my lifetime, probably even going back to before the Vietnam War. Okay? So I'll just leave it at that.
I don't. What was
I
he talking about?
like the passion. Sounds like you're out of breath almost.
Yeah.
I mean, it's 2.5 minutes.
I think he was saying that Iraq is worse than everything going back to Vietnam. Which, yeah.
Takes. Celebrate. I'm surprised they didn't play Buddy Holly, to be honest.
Yeah.
You know, the Democrats, they were probably thinking about that. Oh, let's play Buddy Holly. Who's famous Iowa,
What's with these
died.
armies?
Hey, I'm surprised they didn't play Buddy Holly by Weezer, too. Angry Obama guy. I can't.
Yeah, that's fucked up.
That's a fucking cool song. Yeah, actually, it would have been smart for them to play a Buddy Holly song. The most famous Iowa musician being the guy who was not from here but died here.
Yeah, just because he died here.
It would have been a very appropriate thing for them to do at the DNC, though.
Yeah.
A celebration of death all around. One more for us.
Hi, I'm a local listener in Ames, Iowa. I'm a graduate student and a worker at Iowa State. I wanted to call and gripe about my job and complain about the university because I think that this is a supportive venue for that.
Yes, it is.
It absolutely is. By the way, everybody, our phone number is 319-849-8733. I'm going to say it again after the voicemail, but just telling you now, if you want to gripe about your job and complain about any universities here in the state of Iowa, this is absolutely the venue to do so. Caller, please continue.
So I am getting paid enough to cover my tuition and then have an amount of money left over, like some money left over. However, they ask for the tuition in the best they can do is like 3 installments, and then they pay me every 2 weeks. So I have to go into credit card debt to pay the tuition with the money that they're paying me for the job that I do for them. And I just wish that they could just do the math and, I don't know, pay me less and then
figure it out.
Take the tuition out at the same rate so that I don't have to obliterate my savings to pay everything at the beginning of the semester and then slowly recoup it in my 2-week paychecks. So that's my gripe. Thank you.
Thank you. That's a good gripe. I do want to take this moment to celebrate and raise awareness of the Graduate Student Union at the University of Iowa. This caller works for the Iowa State University, which is a different place, but the COGS, Graduate Student Union at the University of Iowa, graduate students who have some kind of like appointment or TA-ship or whatever at the University of Iowa do not pay tuition. That is an achievement of their union. So shout out to them. Still doing good work to this day, despite constant efforts to undermine them by the state and, of course, by the university that they work for. So, fortunately, this doesn't happen to them.
That's another reason why unions are good. I mean, like, why the fuck do you have to pay tuition by semester? Like, that seems very out of date of how, like, people manage their finances.
Yeah, this is... What an odd situation for them to putting the people who like do the work at this institution basically like, well, what if you don't have savings? Like she was saying, she decimates her savings at the beginning of every year to pay this first installment of the tuition. What if, I mean, you should be able to like start a job having $0 in the bank, right? Like you shouldn't have to pay to start working. Because what happens if she doesn't pay that tuition? She doesn't, like, a graduate student is not a student. Exactly.
She goes to one of those J.D. Vance approved payday loan places.
Yeah, she did say, she said credit card debt as well. So, I guess they let you just pay on a credit card for that too. Crazy shit. I know this doesn't help you in the moment, caller, but college should be free.
You're right. That doesn't help her.
It doesn't help at all. But ideally, we all work towards that common vision.
Yeah.
And someday Iowa State University will stop jerking around their employees.
Yeah. If you have good enough credit, get one of those cards that has an introductory 0% rate and then just never pay it off ever.
That's the best thing to do with debt is ignore it until they come and kill you. I got a couple of those going right now. A couple schemes to kick the can down the road until I'm underground. Tell us about how your employer is ruining your life by calling us at 319-849-8733. As long as you're not angrily defending Obama, I will play your message in good faith.
Yeah, let's get some people who are anti-Bernie Sanders. Like,
that would be
fun.
Yeah, angry Obama guy. If you wanted, like, go after a different target, maybe. Mm-hmm. But we're just having fun. We like you. It's been a long time since we heard from you.
I appreciate how
we got to keep the bit going.
Passionate
right?
you are about, like, kind of ironically defending Obama.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we've pushed him into it even further. You can also send us mail. P.O. Box 5336, Coralville, Iowa 52241. If you're trying to take revenge on us for something that we said about a voicemail that you left us, please do not use the P.O. Box to enact your revenge.
Yeah.
Postal employees do not deserve to be the victims of our back and forth. Do not let anyone else get caught in the crossfire. P.O. Box 5336, Coralville, Iowa 52241. Legal packages only, please.
You're tempting fate. I hope you know.
Every time I mention the P.O. Box, I have to tell them. Okay, so we've got a couple things I want to plug. My birthday is this Wednesday, September 11th.
Yes.
And to celebrate, I'm going to be playing a noise set at a mud wrestling event.
Hell yes.
This is at a new house venue in Iowa City called Paradise. And if you don't know where that is, you can find out by asking me. I'm also playing a show on the 19th at the house venue Purgatory. Anyway, go to justinkcomer.com/shows and you'll find all of my upcoming performances if you would like to see me make weird music and hang out in real life.
Hell yeah.
I mentioned our Patreon at the beginning of this episode, which helped pay for movie tickets for us to see the awful film Reagan.
Yep. Yeah, this is the second time I've benefited from the Patreon. First time was the Slipknot tickets, and now it's the Reagan tickets.
Yes.
So, my two favorite things.
In 5 years of having a Patreon, Evan has benefited 2 times. But yeah, up on that Patreon, we've got a bunch of extra podcast stuff that does not hit the free feed. For example, Speed Freak Read Speak episode 26 came out a few days ago, in which Tony and I reviewed 2 comics. I think it was Sonic the Hedgehog issue 35 and 36. Might have been 34 or 35. But if you really want to find out, go to patreon.com/rockhardcaucus and check the episode description, and it'll have the right numbers. Other stuff, Autonomy Iowa City and the Iowa Abortion Access Fund, autonomyiowacity.org, iowaabortionaccessfund.org. Abortion is increasingly difficult to access in the state of Iowa, but it is not impossible. If you have found yourself in a situation where you need to make decisions about your body, they can help. Autonomy Iowa City, Iowa Abortion Access Fund. Yeah, you know that is that anti-homeless ordinance in Des Moines still
on the books, or still scheduled for September 16th.
September 16th.
Yep.
If you're in Des Moines, you should contact your city council representatives before September 16th, and if possible, you should attend their September 16th meeting and yell at them.
Yeah. Also, support Des Moines Mutual Aid and the Supply Hive. Those are 2 groups I know of that are, directly assisting people who are homeless or potentially could become homeless.
Yes. Oh yeah. Another thing I wanted to put the call out for, election season's coming up quick, actually. So we're going to probably be doing this soon. But something we've done in previous cycles, we have episodes where we watch and comment on campaign ads.
Yes.
Some of the most fun I've ever had doing the podcast.
Yeah, I saw that on there and I was looking forward to it.
The Zach Nunn and Lanon Bacam race, a lot of money is being dumped into that, so there's a lot of ads coming out. But I can't really keep my radar on like every single race in the whole state. So if you live in like a small town, you've got some crazy state house race going on with weird radio ads or something, I probably don't know about it, and I would like to. So please.
It's going to be a real loss to our show that the Libertarians aren't going to be on the ballot.
I know.
There's not even going to be even the opportunity for Libertarian ads.
Yeah, that sucks. Anyway.
But I guess they'll be on the governor's ballot probably in 2026.
Right, yeah.
Rick Stewart's going to run again.
Yeah. Does that mean that he was following the rules?
Yeah, I mean, I assume
or
probably...
did just nobody challenge it?
I don't know. Maybe they're more serious about it in gubernatorial races.
Yeah. They make sure to...
Because that's where the 5% threshold comes in, isn't it? Or I don't know.
Yeah, the reason that they have major party access is because Rick Stewart does well enough, I think.
Yeah.
Anyway, please send us the campaign ads that you see. The more obscure, the better. Like, I know about the congressional races. I've seen all those ads. But if something crazy is going on that's under the radar, please let us know about it. Social media, rockhardcaucus@gmail.com. I guess you could leave a voicemail letting us know about it too. 319-849-8733 is that phone number.
Yeah.
But tell me about campaign ads, please.
Yeah, there's got to be some crazy like state senate races that with crazy candidates.
Yeah, hopefully. Well, that's probably it, right?
I think so.
Are we done with the podcast?
I think we're done.
Okay. We're going to close out with some music from the band Cling. I played at their album release show last weekend. Had a really fun time. Oh God. I'm going to have to say it out loud. They've released what I would like to call an EP, but they don't want me to call it an EP. They want me to call it a sweetie pie.
I've never heard that before. Is that is that something that they're doing, or is that I think slang that they're
pioneering a new terminology?
Sweetie pie.
Yeah. So Kling's 5-song Sweetie Pie you can get at klingiowacity.bandcamp.com. That's Kling with a K, by the way. Kling. klingiowacity.bandcamp.com. Kling's 5-song Sweetie Pie is up there. 5 tracks. Let's see. I'll probably play Gone Fishing'. I like the name of that one. So this is Kling, and this has been Rock Hard Caucus. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.